big picture is very good. We have 1.8 million US dollars in net assets, and the ISCB continues to operate in a very healthy state. We have ISCB now, the membership source is our biggest net revenue, and the ISCB conference is then the second biggest. The memberships dues are mainly used for the operational management of the society, the programs and travel fellowships, and also, of course, for the conferences, support of the topical and regional conferences, where mainly these conferences, the regional ones, don't make much money, but we try to at least get a little bit money out of it, and then sponsor again then the next ones. The ISB membership is slowly growing. We have now about 2,300 members. In April we had 3,400, and in July 10 we had a secret.
353.
Okay, so we are around 3,400, 3,300. We had, I will show you the graph, we grow the membership, but we grow not as fast as we want, and this is one of the main working areas for us in the board, to find new ways how we get new membership on boards, because we believe there are much more than 3,500 bioinformatics people out there. This is the balance sheet. You see here the assets in green, the liabilities and the net assets, and you see that we recovered quite nicely from some bad years, and now we have this healthy situation on the money side. On the membership side, you see also that we had a big jump. Actually, even before we had a bigger jump, so we now around this 3,000 whatever. And you see also the split into the continents and the ISMB attendance. That's the black one, where you have this up and down, so that correlates, for example, nicely with the ISMB being in Europe or in the US. Okay, memberships, again, different plot. We are growing slowly. This is the membership according to the type. Again, here the total one, and then the professionals, the postdocs, students, and trainees. And you see that we have 30% of students in the society, which is very promising, because they all will grow up, hopefully, and get new students. And we also have a nice trend on the professionals, that we don't have any more this flat rate. So it looks we also keep the professionals in the society, even when the ISME maybe is in Europe and you are in the US, or vice versa, where we had before very tight correlation with the ISME attendance when we are in the US or in Europe. So this is slowly disentangled now, and I hope this is actually a reflection of all the efforts we put in for keeping people on board, and actually try to get in contact if they don't renew the membership renewal. Then we have actions in place now to ask why and so on. So I think this is a reflection of all these activities here. We have a student travel fellowship campaign. Unfortunately, we lost some grants on this, but these travel fellowships are really important for us to give to the students. We receive 300 travel support requests each year, and we only could fulfill 70% of the requests. So we really want to invest money here and efforts here. So if you have some dollars, euros, whatever left in your pocket after this day, this go there and just put it there. That's it. Questions?
Thank you so much, Reinhard. I'm now going to invite Christina Rango, the ISCB Conferences co-chair, to talk a little bit more about our conferences programs. And then she's actually standing in place for Janet Kelso right now, because Janet had a conflict. And then Christine will continue on to talk a little bit more about our COSI initiative.
Thanks, Diane. Thanks. I'm sorry you get a double dose of me, because Janet actually is the chair now. I'm the co-chair, but she has another meeting she had to attend. So we've had another very active year. You can see we have increased our meetings from 2 to 8. We have all these additional meetings now. We have the ISCB continent meetings, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. We also have these topic meetings that have been very successful: next generation sequencing, Seychelles, Recom, and the regional meeting as well in Great Lakes and the Rockies. And we're, as Alfonso I think mentioned in his talk, we are sort of assessing new areas of development and encouraging people to set up conferences. We partner with many other conferences around the world. You can see we're only halfway through this year, and it's still looking very healthy, I think, with 9 affiliated conferences to date, and that's still growing. And as I think Alfonso or Diane pointed out, you do get member registration discounts. And obviously this is the largest meeting, and again I think it's been a great success thanks to Diane and the team and the great organizer, the steering committee, Alex and Janet and Des here. So we have over 1,400 scientists here. We've had a lot of SIG meetings, satellite meetings, and these tutorials, these AICs. And I think this has been a wonderful venue. I don't know how you all feel, but I think everything's gone very smoothly. So I think, you know, thanks to everybody involved in organising this conference. It's been great. Next year we have Orlando and Disney World, or is it Disneyland? Actually, I don't know because I don't have Disney World. So those of you who can encourage your families to come along as well, that's an added attraction, I think. And I think it'll be great fun there. So I hope you're putting it in your diaries now. We've got some great keynotes already lined up, Sandrine Dudois and Ruth Nussinoff. And Pierre Baldi and Teresa Pritchka, sorry, I hope she's not in the room. Maybe if she is, she can correct my pronunciation. They're chairing this next year. So I think we'll have a lot of exciting themes and talks to look forward to. Also, book in your diaries Prague for 2017 and Chicago for 2018. So there'll also be great places to visit and more exciting science. And if you can't wait till then, there are these meetings coming up too. In November, there's the Recom, and in December, you've got the Rocky Mountains. And then for next year, you can look forward to the NGS, the GL Bio, the Great Lakes, and also the Latin America in Argentina. So there's plenty to look forward to. I think this is a summary of all the meetings that are coming up on the horizon. So I think it's been another really great year. So thanks to everybody who's involved in the conferences. I think that's it. Do I now segue into the... It's called, I don't have my glasses, so. Okay. Okay, thanks then. So this is just a brief update on these communities of special interest, and it's partly because I'm not sure how many people even know about them really. They're based on, well, they were established last year, and they're really based on groups that organized excellent meetings here at ISMB. So the satellite meetings and the SIG meetings, and they clearly represented very active, dynamic communities. And the idea was to persuade those communities to continue that activity year-round, so it wouldn't just be perhaps one meeting at ISMB. Perhaps we could help them to organize other meetings. Perhaps we could help in other ways. And I should say again, Diane's been great in facilitating sort of new website developments, the connected communities, that gives them a more interactive website so they can have dialogue with their community throughout the year. So let me just summarize some of the sort of benefits that these groups have in becoming cozy. So they have this dedicated portal which promotes, they can put a lot of information there, they can put their talks there, they can have these sort of interactive blogs and things. They're also able to publish articles in the society pages of PLOS. And as Alfonso mentioned, I think a really great development that Alfonso has negotiated is this community journal. So this can be used to publish talks, from the meeting, articles of interest connected with the COSI, their videos, their posters, abstracts. So I think we really hope that this community journal will help them to sort of publicize their activities and grow their COSIs, which will also benefit ISCB as well. So if any of you know of a research area, actually I'll show you that there's 13 of them at the moment, so I'll show you the research areas that are covered. But for those if you don't see a research area there and you think there's some research area or an enabling area that's not covered at the moment, please think about maybe starting your own community. I mean, you can start by perhaps having a birds of a feather or a short workshop at ISMB, and you can then obviously consider using the COSY website and ultimately the community journal to promote your field if you don't see it represented. I mean, I think metagenomics, medical informatics, there are some big areas we don't have at the moment that we'd be keen to encourage. To become a COSY, it's very easy. You just need to write something sort of telling us a bit more about the community you think you've identified. So, for example, if you've had a meeting or you've set up a website and you can show activity, you do need to have at least 10 ISCB members, and that's because there is some work in supporting this website. And it's because it's such a sophisticated website, we have to pay something for it every year. So really, we just need this so that we can cover the costs of the team that help with the website. Each COSY gets given 2 free memberships, and those are for the people that create the content for the website. Because if those websites aren't populated, then it's really not going to work. The better the websites, the more people hopefully will be attracted to the COSYs and will have ideas on what the COSYs could do, and also help organizing meetings and things. So again, if you have an area that's not represented, and also if you want to get involved in these communities, if you have time to help them put their content on the website, then please go to our COSY website and contact the organizers. Some of them are in this room, I can see. Contact the organizers of those COSYs and volunteer your skills. It's a good way to get to know your community, and there's a chance you'll get a free membership. So I hope some of you will think about it. I have to apologize for this slide. It was beautiful color when it was designed. I don't know why it's gone black and gray, but it was really just a slide we used to launch the COSYs last year. And this, I'm going to show you the names of the themes, and just to mention this website and journal again, which I think are 2 of the major benefits. And if you actually, this is out of date as well. I'm sorry, Diane. If you go to the new ISCB website, you'll get linked to the COSYs very easily, and then you can find out a lot more about them. Find out the COSY that suits you, which theme do you belong to. I'm just listing some of the themes at the moment. So starting with, really importantly, enabling and education, core bioinformatics, junior PIs, open bioinformatics forum, and the ontologies, and then sort of going into protein, structure, function, analysis of large data sets, impacts of genetic variations, high throughput sequencing, mass spec, network biology, regulatory and systems genomics. So if you don't see your research theme there and you have the energy and some friends to help you set something up, and in particular, maybe a workshop or a birds of a feather, we'd really like to hear from you. This year, the COSYs have been really active. So 11 out of the 13 have run a workshop or a SIG or a satellite. We had 2 satellite meetings. We had, as you can see, a number of SIGs. And also the Very COSY was very brave and had some of their meeting, and I heard it went really well, so thanks, Yana. I had within the main meeting, and as Alfonso said, that we're sort of interested in seeing how this works to perhaps involve the COSYs more in some of the main meeting. And there were 2 workshops as well, one for the education group and one the bioinformatics core. And just very quickly, some other activities that they've been involved in, the function prediction. They do this big competition, which is a lot of work. So they've done that over the last year, done a lot of work analyzing this assessment, this prediction, and that's very useful and interesting for the community. But they've got a grant to continue with this, so I think that's really successful, and it's great news for them. The BioCore have been having a lot of meetings to draw up a guide for people who want to set up a new core facility. They've actually talking about best practices. And they have actually got a presentation on their web now that helps people deal with certain problems that you get in sequencing. The education group, they had a successful tutorial here, but I think what's really great about this group, they had a workshop which involved other communities. So also the Goblet and the ISCB education community. And this is something we want to encourage as well, because we have 13 COSYs. Actually, BioViz might join, so we might have 14, but some of them overlap. So we want to encourage COSYs to work together as well. I mean, We want to identify clusters of cozies that maybe, actually, I think Paul in the audience has suggested we call these closies, but I'm not sure about the name, but clusters of cozies that, you know, that could benefit from working together, could learn from each other, could increase sort of collaborations. And so that's something that we're hoping to promote as well. The RegSys, they organised the Recom and Dream, so that was great. And they've highlighted papers in their field. That's another very useful activity for the community. And CAMDA, they've had a very successful satellite meeting, and they just wanted me to show this slide to you. This is what they're planning to do for next year. So those of you involved in analysing big data sets, this is what you've got to look forward to next year. So that's just a review of what the communities are up to, and I hope you'll think about joining and in particular helping them, getting involved, and if there's nothing represented, maybe thinking about whether you want to start something. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Christine. Exciting stuff indeed. And in the spirit of competition, I recently took a personality survey. And my number one result was that I'm a competitor. So in the spirit of competition, I'll invite Alex Bateman to talk a little bit about our 2016 Wikipedia competition.
Thanks, Diane. So welcome, everyone. So I just wanted to say very briefly a few words about the ISCB Wikipedia competition. And the reason for this, the motivation is that for partnering with Wikipedia is that actually, although we know where to get information about computational biology and bioinformatics, the public at large, if they want to find out anything about our field, they always end up at Wikipedia to find out about dynamic programming or just bioinformatics generally, and that's somewhat worrying. It also presents a great opportunity that we can improve the content of information there, make sure it's accurate and up to date. And so that's really the spirit in which we started a competition for students, whereby we would give them an award for the most improved articles within Wikipedia. And we are into the third year of that competition, and it's been growing year on year. And we're seeing lots of great entries, and I'm going to be delighted to announce the winners at the closing ceremony, which you should all stay and go to and hear what happened there. So, but we're trying to develop the competition. There's going to be a new one in 2016. Actually, the competition starts in September of this year and runs through into the beginning of 2016. So if you're a student, please enter. If you have any undue influence on students, then please get them to enter. If you are, running a master's program, undergraduate programs, then you can make this part of the course. And it's very exciting for students that their coursework, literature reviews, can actually become part of the public record. It's much more engaging than having much more engaging than their essay being filed away in a filing cabinet. So I'd really encourage you to get involved in that in whatever way you can. And I think I'll stop there, and thanks for the opportunity to get on my soapbox again.
Thank you so much, Alex. Before I turn it over to the students, I just want to briefly highlight a few of the individuals in the room. Every day I have the absolute pleasure to work with some amazing people, and ISCB would not tick if it weren't for the hundreds of volunteers that give their time to make this work. So I wanted to put in our elected officers. If you're in the room, please stand. Alfonso Valencia, our president; Burkhart Roast, our immediate past president; Bonnie Berger, our vice president; Terry Gasterlin, a vice president; Scott Markle, our secretary; Christina Rango, one of our vice presidents; Thomas Lingauer, one of our vice presidents; and Reinhard Schneider. If you guys could please stand so people know who you are. supporting our elected officers are 26 members of our board of directors, and I'm not going to read them name for name because I know we are pressed for time. So if any of our board of directors are here, can you also please stand and be recognized? So this was supposed to be Alfonso, but we're very pleased to announce our 2016 to 2019 newly elected board members. Alex Bateman was reelected, Jana Bromberg, Ido Freeberg, and Yves Moreau. If you guys are here, please be recognized. So, I would now like to turn it over to our very energetic, engaged, amazing student council to tell you a little bit more about their programs and their ISCB Student Council Symposium.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here today to talk about the amazing things that we've accomplished over the past year within the Student Council. So maybe just a quick overview of the structure of the Student Council. So we have an executive team that runs our daily operations. And then we have specific committees, 5 in total, which run different aspects within the Student Council. I'm going to go more into detail into that in a second. And then we have a couple of big initiatives which have their own committees in charge of them. And the 4 that I'd like to highlight right here, right now, are our 4 committees in charge of the 4 big symposiums that we had in the past year. So we had actually student council symposiums preceding all major ISCB conferences. So we had one last Friday here. Then we had one in Latin America, one in Africa, and one in Europe, all within 1 year. So this was the first time we actually had 4 student council symposiums. So our different committees have been hard at work. Our education and interim committee is very pleased to report that we had an internship at the Snyder Lab in Luxembourg for a student from a developing nation to get some experience. And we've got another internship pending at the same lab for 2016. Our regional student group has been amazing this year. We actually now have 29 active regional student groups affiliated with the Student Council all over the world. We have an ongoing funding program to help these Student Council regional student groups fund their different activities. And in our first funding round, we've already expended $1,100 to 9 RSGs to help fund some very successful activities. So just maybe to give you an overview of where these regional student groups are situated. So these are kind of spread out. So we have 29 RSGs, but we are active in much more countries, since a lot of our RSGs actually span several countries. For instance, in Africa, we actually have, I think, 4 or 5 major RSGs spreading out all over the place and really promoting interaction across borders over there. So our web committee has also been hard at work. We launched a new website for the Student Council this year with a lot of new exciting features, a lot of new possibilities to interact for people to socialize with. We have new submission systems. We've reworked the way RSG website works. This is all back-end stuff. Our outreach and volunteer committee has really gone the extra mile this year. We've done a big push on social media accounts. I think we've never tweeted as much this year as we've ever tweeted before. And we're also planning to establish a quarterly student council newsletter that we can send out to students that might be interested in our activities. Also, our finance committee has been extremely excellent this year. I think Jacob, who's the chair of that committee, has pretty much worked himself to death to fund all of these different student council symposiums, which were all highly successful. And looking towards the next year and a half, the things that we want to focus on as the current executive team are to increase our outreach and visibility within the community, both online and offline, let's say. So we want to also launch this quarterly newsletter for students, by students. We want to also increase the transparency and the communication between our different regional student groups and the student council. And of course, we also want to recruit a lot more internships for students from developing nations. So just also a brief overview what we've been doing at this ISMB. So in a moment, Katie is going to give you guys an overview of the Student Council Symposium, but we also helped out with the Education Cozy and the GPI to organize an Education X. And of course, we have our traditional Student Council booth, where we've been creating network opportunities for different academic job postings. So if you're interested, if you're looking for jobs as a student, or if you're looking for a new PhD student or a new postdoc student, feel free to stop by our booth and maybe we can work something out. Also, in general, kind of a call out to maybe the numerous PIs that are attending today. We need more internships to give students from developing nations a chance to really come here and get new experience. And we've seen so many success stories in that sense. It would be great if you could maybe just offer a few months that a student could come by and get in touch, and we can definitely work something out. If there's any companies or institutions here, we always need more sponsors for our activities, for our travel fellowships. We've been able to do so much with so little money sometimes. So please do contact us if you're interested. And yeah, so now I'd like to turn over to Katie, who will give an overview of the Student Council Symposium. Thank you.
Hi everyone. In addition to actually being the chair of Student Council this year, this was also my first time attending the symposium. So I'm particularly grateful to how welcoming everyone's been, both within Student Council and without. And I'm pleased to report that it went really well this year. We had two fantastic keynotes, Dr. Ruth Nusanov and Dr. Des Higgins, who I'd like to thank for taking the time to come speak to us. They gave wonderful, enthusiastic talks, which we all really enjoyed. I'd also like to thank Dr. Robert Davey and Mr. Michael Markey for giving our industry partner presentations. Both were about different aspects of open science and generated some really great questions and discussion. We actually received 100 submissions this year, and were able to accept 12 for student presentations. We had 25 volunteers to help review these abstracts, and ended up finally having 75 attendees from 24 different countries. Everyone who was here actually brought a poster, and our highlights will be published in BMC. We'd like to thank all of our reviewers, and as I said, we were fortunate to have 25 of them, so I won't read out all of their names, but I would like to extend a great thank you to them. This would not have been possible without them. And I'd also like to thank our organizing committee for their tireless efforts making this possible. And then I'd like to move on to our awards to recognize some of our great student presentations and posters. I'll go ahead and invite my co-chair Farzana up to hand out awards. And first, our runner-up poster award, which was sponsored by NAR, goes to Jonas Ibn Salam. Would you please come up and accept your certificate? Next, first place for the Best Poster Award goes to Robin Vanderlee. And our Best Presentation Award goes to Greet Lanin. And this award was sponsored by the Bioinformatics Journal.
Thanks.
All right, and next, as Peter said, Jacob did a fantastic job fundraising, so we were able to give out 6 travel fellowships this year, and we have certificates for them as well. So we'd like to thank SIB for 2 travel fellowships, the first of which went to Alexander Monson, and the second to Mark Smero. Would you both come up to... Next, we'd like to thank F1000 for a travel fellowship that went to Julia Fiskin. And then we'd also like to thank BMC for 2 travel fellowships that went to Westa Davanova and Gungur Budak. And although Pratik wasn't able to join us today, I would like to highlight his award since he's actually a high school student who we were able to help attend and present thanks to ISCB. Finally, I would like to thank our sponsors. And in addition, I'd actually like to thank F1000, who have enabled us to give out 3 more awards for free publication in one of their journals. And those will go to students who had outstanding presentations and posters. And for time, I'll go ahead and read out all 3 names and ask you to come up. These are going to Giles McClott, Bart Coupiers, and Charles Edmund Breeze. And finally, I'd like to direct you to our website and to go ahead and email volunteers at iscbsc.org if you'd like to get involved in any of our committees to help organize Student Symposium next year.
Thank you so much, Katie and Peter. And as we've always traditionally done as part of this meeting, this time we'd like to have an open platform for any of your questions, comments, and compliments. I'd also like to invite all of the Student Council winners, as well as our over 70 travel fellowship winners, to stick around after we're done so that we can take some staged photos so you look great in our newsletter. So Alfonso, if you would please join me for anyone who has questions, comments, and compliments. Don't be shy.
I want to make a comment, and that concerns awards by ISCB. I've heard indirectly that there was a mention, or people realized that the fellows yesterday had a certain bias towards a certain sex. And I just want to tell you that we notoriously have too few nominations. basically in all awards categories, every member can nominate for every award. That's the Overton Award, that's the Senior Scientist Award, the New Award, Mid-Career Award, and also for the Fellows. And so please think about people that have the acclaimed stature, and you can help, and you can nominate men and women, of course. Men are not excluded. But please, it would help the society significantly if we could increase the number of nominations, let's say by a factor of 3. Thank you.
Thanks. I think it's been a great conference. It's a really, really on. Can you hear me? It's been a great venue. Very, very compact and really nice. I also want to compliment the ISCB on the funding and having such a wonderful positive balance. And I wonder if you could comment on the spending plan for some of that positive balance, just in light of the last Student Council presentation where they're looking for money for travel fellowships, for example.
Certainly, I have to say I was surprised by how little are we investing in the Student Council conferences. We have a very nice meeting this morning discussing how we are going to go about that. Obviously, there are things that we cannot do because we don't have the money to do them. We will do, and we have to discuss this in the board, but I'm sure that we will do better in terms of helping them more to support their activities. But we need to do something else on that. We realized in the discussion this morning that some of these meetings that we are supporting, or the Students' Council in different countries, are really taking places in countries that I cannot believe that they need a small award of $200. I will be very happy of investing all this money in the places that they really can make a difference by investing $200 or $400 to $1,000 or whatever. So what we have a plan now is to go back to each one of these countries that can believe that they really need this money and ask the regional groups, the ISCB regional groups, or the scientists working in these countries to put this money, and more than this money, in supporting their students in their countries. That will save some of the Students' Council money, will make the most out of our investments in the regions that are more needed. So I think we will try to do two things: increase our investment and try to get some other support from other regional groups that can really support the students in their countries. There are other things that we can do, but these are two obvious ones for me to do.
So I guess I want to start off with a compliment to the Student Council. My word, you guys are totally awesome, really seriously impressive. And being on the board of directors, I often think that maybe we should step down and just have the Student Council do our job, because
Let's do that.
They have completely boundless energy, a huge number of ideas, and they put them into practice. It's truly deeply impressive. So thank you so much for all the hard work that you do, and long may it continue. Now there is more, and so the internship program for students from developing countries. So this is going on. I took a student last year, and the reason this is a very good thing to get involved in, because the Student Council really takes a lot of care and takes a lot of the workload off you, because they triage the tens, hundreds of applications and just present you with a very short list of really excellent candidates to interview. So it's a really big time saver, and so it's a great way to get very, very smart kids from around the world. So I'd highly recommend it to anyone to get involved and do that too.
Manuel.
Great. Let's see.
Terry and Burkhard.
Okay, so thanks very much, Alfonso. I think I'm very impressed with your vision and how you take criticism from people. I think that's been something very refreshing. I want to now ask regarding the JPI, Junior PI initiative, and the initiative that you were proposing regarding having specialized workshops supported by ISCB. So I would like to, you mentioned that there could be a relationship between the award given to the Overton Prize and those workshops. But I think that perhaps it might be good considering also to open it up to other junior PIs, because I don't think that the Overton or any of the awardees necessarily would have the interest to organize these workshops. And I think that there is a lot of potential groups that we can reach out as well. And on top of that, the comment I would also like to make is that I think I would like to see some kind of relationship as well between the junior PIs and the election of the mid-career awards.
What do you mean by relation?
So I suppose involving the JPI, the junior PIs organization, somehow contributing maybe to the selection of the award, but some kind of link.
Yep. No. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
Great. I want to return for a moment to the question about students and student involvement. And we had a board vote during the board of directors meeting I guess this was Saturday, we had the vote.
Long time ago. That was like Saturday.
Yeah, ages ago. Where we decided unanimously as a board that we must put more money into the student budget. So we passed that motion, and we decided to make that a motion so that it puts it front and center, so that even as other budgetary concerns come up or questions or potential priorities, that the students will remain a high priority with that motion. The second comment or thought is, in addition to the internships, I'd encourage the students to think about perhaps formalizing something that we might call student exchanges. So for example, in my laboratory in San Diego this summer, I'll host 2 of my former students, she's now a professor in Beijing. 2 of her students will come to my lab for a month, and they'll keep working on what they work with Shujie, but they'll be in residence in my lab, and so I'll be advising them for a month in their work. And the neat thing about that is you get some really new, fresh interest in the work that you're doing as a student. And what's neat to me is I get a peek into what my student Shujie is now doing in her lab in Beijing without having to go to Beijing for a month. So that's an idea that might be something we could piggyback on top of the internships.
Yep. Good point. Burkhard?
Let me just repeat on what Alex said. So I had 5 of these 2 internships. They were all fantastic. I don't know why the PIs, that's up to the students in the room. Get more active, get them. Terry is right, this is something in the future. But today there are students, get them, if you have any money.
So I just want to follow up a little bit on what Manny said. And your original idea about additional workshops or things like that. One of the things that I don't see us doing as a society is hackathons, workshops, jamborees, things where we could actually get together and groups of people could program around a certain area or topic. There's a lot of skill, and even during sessions, students especially, have their laptops open or working on programming and such. And a little bit more active rather than the passive presentations that we seem to do. I might encourage us to look for a venue that adds more workshops and interactive, collaborative development of software applications, methods, etc.
Are you going to reply to that?
You want to take out, right at the start of the hackathon at some point, should take it on your hands and do it.
So I think that we are going to make a real effort. I think I mentioned that. There are many ways of doing that, and obviously things are going in this direction. If with all the technical constraint that this implies, if the venue allows us to do it, next year we'll try to move part of the posters to working demo type of things, and we can elaborate on that. Burkas was saying the other day, and it's true that we have been the group, the meeting, ISMB has been the meeting that crashes more convention centers in the world, no? Because they always thought, oh, we have a Wi-Fi that will something, and we always crash the Wi-Fis. So we have to find ways of continue doing that, and that will be a good way of doing that.
Well, in the interest of time, and we know there's another session in this room, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. The Travel Fellowship Award winners, please stick around for the official photo. We'll meet right outside these doors. If Nadine, if you could wave your hand, you're going with her. Everyone else, thank you so much. I do encourage you to still provide all your comments to the officers, our directors from our board of directors, or myself at any time during this meeting. So thanks for coming.